This is Envision Self-Healing Podcast, episode number 71.
The topic of the week this week is Meir Schneider. And on the question of the week this week, we have a question from our Facebook fan page from someone who has seen the podcast called 3 Best Exercises for Myopia and wants to know if there's other exercises they should be doing.
Hi, I'm Will Fuller.
And I'm Richard Miller.
And we're the co-creators of EnvisionSelfHealing.com and are dedicated in helping you improve your eyesight and quality of life
by taking healing into your own hands.
If you haven't had a chance already, don't forget to head over to the Envision Self-Healing website where you can get your hands on a free ebook that's going to give you 10 top tips on how you can start improving your eyesight in our modern day world.
And the topic of this week is Meir Schneider. So I was going to start out with a story of Meir's life, which is sort of the beginning of his work and our work to a certain degree.
Yeah, and I suppose those that don't know our relationship with Meir, we've both spent many years now working with Meir and studying from his work. I like to think of him as the kind of godfather
yes.
of eye exercises. He's been doing it for around 40 years now. He used to be blind and now he drives a car here in California and just kind of blows your mind, really. And he is a genius, and we really wanted to dedicate this podcast to a little bit more information about educating our audience as well about Meir Schneider, about his work, and of course some of the amazing feats that he's accomplished. To also help motivate our audience as well, because you could imagine. Say for example, we get emails like the question of the week this week. Can I improve my 1.25 myopia? And Meir Schneider is a guy that overcame his blindness and now drives a car. So obviously you don't have complete comparisons there, but it is a very good example of what you could achieve. So we're going to explain a little bit more about his life story.
Right. So Meir was born. He's a little older than me. I think in his late 50s now. He was born in Russia under communism to 2 deaf parents. Believe it or not. Here's a guy born blind. He had cataracts over his eyes when he was born. Born in Russia or I guess the Soviet Union back then, and the healthcare wasn't up to snuff, shall we say, back then. So nowadays, if a child was born with cataracts, they would immediately remove the cataracts within weeks.
It's called congenital cataracts. Meaning that you're born with the cataracts. Right,
and the reason they do it immediately now is that if you don't take them off immediately, the brain doesn't develop the visual centers adequately to provide vision, even if you do remove the cataracts later, in theory. That's why they do it so early now. So at age 4, they finally got around to trying to remove the cataracts. They did this in Poland, and the surgeries, he had multiple surgeries to remove cataracts, and nowadays it's not a big deal. Back then it was, under communism, it was even a bigger deal. And so he has scar tissue remaining from this surgery that covers 98% of the surface of his lens. So he's looking through, from that surgery, he's left with 2% of his lens. Then his family moves to Israel. Now he's got the 2 deaf parents. His father's a photographer, ironically. Meir can see, his father can't hear, so they're sort of cooperating on this business. He grows up with the help of his grandmother, actually was very instrumental in his life. And so he's learning braille. He's put into a school where he learns braille. Meir being Meir, he's a very interesting guy, as we both know. He's doing things like playing soccer anyway. A blind kid playing soccer, riding bikes, trying to do things that he's not supposed to do.
Yeah, and in fact they kept encouraging him not to do those kind of things, right? Just kind of accept your lot, stop trying to be a normal child in inverted quotes, and sort of just deal with it.
That was his unfortunately his family environment was, don't do this stuff, accept yourself as a blind kid, learn braille, get a cane, the whole deal. So this is his life, going to blinds, as a blind child, going to the disabled schools, learning braille. And then he met a man named Danny as a teenager, on the beach of Tel Aviv, I think. And this man, Danny, had embraced the Bates method of eye exercises and began to teach Meir the eye exercises. And there was another woman also, they kind of cooperated. This woman is a librarian. And the three of them started to get to know each other. And these people incorporated massage into the Bates method. So that's the unique blend that happened there in Israel. And they also use massage to treat people with muscular dystrophy and MS and other kinds of physical disorders. So they began building a business at a very young age. He was late teens at most at this point. So that's his life, and very quickly he improved his vision. From reading braille to he then read with strong magnifiers. As he did the exercises, body work, he improved his vision to probably 20/100, something like that.
Yeah, I think he talks about when he first started getting his vision was through looking at the air conditioning units in Israel, and that's where he used to do a lot of the shifting exercise that I'm sure everybody is familiar with now, knowing through our website. So they started to come clearer and clearer, and he was actually able to start making out windows and air conditioning units. And I think even when he was doing his braille at school, he was trying to read, and they were kind of slapping him almost and sort of telling him to stop trying to see.
Yeah, stop trying to see.
And
you bad boy.
and just do the braille. So he really worked hard with the exercises. I think at some point he was doing 8-10 hours a day of lots of sunning and palming and lots of the shifting exercises, and really working hard with them. And I think that's when he started to really see his vision start developing through, is when he started picking out the details. And then he said he was able to then read with a strong magnifying glass, large print.
Yeah, and then gradually got better and better and better by doing the exercises and working on his body at the same time. So that's the history. And then by his early 20s, he was moving to the United States and bringing all that he had learned with these other people and this small business in Israel. He brought it to the United States and established a center in San Francisco. And he's been there since, that's 30 years later. Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe last year or this year he celebrated his 40th Bates anniversary, discovering eye exercises. 40 years now he's been doing it, and like you say, he founded the school. Was it called the School for Self-Healing then?
It was called the Center for Self-Healing back then, and now it's the School for Self-Healing. Yeah, and that was where Rich was saying that he incorporated a lot of the body work as well, and now works with lots of conditions, not just vision stuff, also multiple sclerosis and muscular dystrophy, and pretty much anything you can neurological
think
diseases.
Of. He's really taken the healing model of what he gained from overcoming his own blindness and kind of transferred that into his work as well at the School for Self-Healing. But and then sort of innovating a lot more with the eye exercises. Obviously a very intuitive guy, as well as being a genius on top of it. So kind of combining those two aspects there to really find out which eye exercises work best for the individual, as opposed to generic exercises.
That is the difference. Yeah. There's plenty of people doing Bates, and so he took it a step further and said, now here's the eye exercises for glaucoma, for cataracts, for all of these different conditions that the Bates teachers weren't doing, and he added body work to them, which is probably the biggest thing he did.
And I suppose one of the most difficult things, part of our trainings, we've been working with him for many years now, is that the concept of working with the individual and not with the population, or not with the condition. It is about the individual. And it's a very difficult skill to learn from Meir, especially as he is so intuitive and he does have his 40 years of experience. So we would kind of be sitting with a myopic client and working, and then he would recommend a completely different exercise that you would think is completely irrelevant to a nearsighted person. And then once you kind of get the explanation of why you put it in, and you figure out it's to do with this part of the lifestyle, or this, that, and the other.
It's very Yoda-like in some ways.
It is, and it's interesting trying to translate it all and figure out where we are. but we obviously feel very lucky that we had the opportunity to train with him and that experience. And I suppose we wanted to share a little bit more our stories of how we actually found out about Meir Schneider, and also to try and help encourage and motivate other people to know that they can also share in the story and start improving their eyesight. It's not just a case of listening to other people's stories. It's a case of taking on this yourself and learning about the eye exercises and start doing the eye exercises, so you too can have your own kind of story of vision improvement.
Maybe with my story it sort of fits in with the intuitive thing, because I was living in northern Washington state, almost in Canada, and he was down in San Francisco, and he happened to give a workshop up near Seattle. And I had a yoga teacher that I went to, a massage therapist, my regular massage therapist, and the person who was the contractor of my house, his mother happened to have MS, and they all three of them went to the same workshop, right?
Oh, wow.
And they all went, "Oh, Richard, we gotta tell Richard." So within like 2 days of them after this workshop, all three of them came to me and said, "You have to go see this guy." And I immediately flew down to San Francisco and started. And that was almost 25 years ago now. And my vision improved quite quickly from that experience. About 25 years ago. So I went from 2300, 2400 down to the mid 2100s, below 2200. So in some ways I became not legally blind at that point. How should I say this? I became not blind at that point. Because legal blindness is 2200. But
above, yeah. And then there isn't really much after that. No, everybody's just blind after that. So so that was my story of coming down. I would fly down and spend a week or two with him, do the exercises. I have to say that when I would go home, it was hard to motivate myself to do the exercises on my own. Yeah, and I guess this is kind of where we have a bit of an advantage here, is we really, what we're trying to do with Envision self-healing and all of our work here is kind of having that experience of trying to go away and working with it yourself. And how much of a challenge that can be, and we really appreciate how that can be for a lot of people.
And when I think about the internet was barely in existence at that point, and now we do have the advantage of the web and Facebook and all of those ways of connecting.
And it was difficult to have that support.
Exactly.
I would imagine.
Yes.
Kind of flying in and flying out again.
Yeah. So.
And I think it was kind of similar for me. I know I actually heard about Meir Schneider through a Deepak Chopra lecture, and he talks about it's a series called Quantum Healing, and he talks about kind of healing all different areas of the body. And he talks about a guy that used to be blind and now drives a car in California, and gives some of the exercises, and I was just completely thrown away at this point. I think this was at the time I just found out from my eye doctor that there was nothing could be done for my vision unless they do a surgery that has a 60% chance of me going blind, and that they would do it if I really want to.
And they really want to do it because they want to try
it. So I started seeking alternatives there, and that was when I found out about this. So obviously I jumped to the chance and started looking at My Life and Vision.
That book, that was my first book too,
And just blew me away, really. Just the story that we briefly told you about there, about his parents, and then his whole healing journey, and then the process of being blind, and then working his way up to now driving a car over here in San Francisco. So obviously just started doing the eye exercises, and my family history is retinitis pigmentosa. My father has it, his two sisters have it, and his mother had it, so to finally find out that there's stuff that could be done. And I know when I started researching it a bit more that the eye exercises do work with retinitis pigmentosa as well. It kind of really caught me off guard, really, that all this time I'd been going to the doctors, and not once did anybody ever mention, and with so many generations in my family, had nobody ever come across eye exercises. So I really wanted to take it on there, and that was when I then came over to San Francisco after doing the eye exercises for about 6 years myself, 7 years. and then come here to learn this amazing work so we could then share it with you guys.
Yeah.
It really, I said what was similar is, I know for me when I was trying to do the eye exercises, it was just me.
Really, just you? Where were you? Kenya or Kuwait? Or?
No, I was in London.
London first.
Initially,
Yeah.
And none of my friends really had particular vision problems, and then no one in my, anyone in my family, I could only imagine what they must have thought,
right?
Because they've been in the latest technology for vision improvement for the last 30 years or however long. My family's been going to the eye doctors there, and they'd never heard any of this, so kind of really on my own there in the dark. So, and I remember one of the most difficult things is one was motivating myself to keep doing the exercises, especially as it is a particularly slow process. In particular, if you have a condition like retinitis pigmentosa, you can get that initial jump where you notice the improvements, but it can be a slow process. And then also, am I doing the exercises right?
Right.
Am I doing the right ones? And the only real way was to fly out to San Francisco,
right, and
do it, which I did eventually.
Yeah.
But I think such a big thing that what we wanted to do here with Envision was to be able to give people the opportunity to avoid the difficulties that we had.
Yeah, good point.
The idea of me sitting in my room, am I doing this right? Am I doing the eye exercises right? Am I doing the right exercises full stop? And it would have been nice just to have been able to send off an email or even do the coaching call that we have on the website, just to give people that opportunity to do that and to avoid that. So we were very lucky there, and then we both came to San Francisco to actually work with Meir at that point and take our knowledge to the next step on that one. So you can find out plenty more information on Meir Schneider. There's also on the acknowledgements page on our website. Just go to, is it the About Us, I think?
It is, yeah.
And then go to one of the sub-menus, and we've got a nice detailed bit of information there, a bit more info on Meir's life. And you can also head over to their website, it's the School for Self-Healing. And also be sure to check out his book, My Life and Vision, and some of the other materials there, because it's a real great motivator.
It is.
If anyone's short of motivation, then it can certainly encourage you, especially if you have more challenging conditions.
Yeah.
It can be a nice one to read and really give you that boost and jump into the exercise.
Yeah, if you have friends with muscular dystrophy or MS, it's also a very good book for that. So.
Yeah, and that's certainly something that we're going to look at a little bit more in the future, because that does come under our umbrella of training, but we really wanted to be able to focus on vision at this point.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, I think that's a good time to move on to question of the week. So the question of the week this week comes through our Facebook fan page. All you need to do is just type in Envision Self-Healing into Facebook, and you can check us out over there, and be sure to like our fan page, and you can also get up to date on a lot of the latest information, any podcasts that we release, and also any bits of information that we do come across. We tend to post it up there as well. So the question reads, thank you very much for having this service and having a lot of people for helping a lot of people around the world. It's great that you guys are doing this service for no cost, unlike some of the other websites. I had a question. I currently have myopia. Left eye is -1 and the right eye is -1.25. Is there any recommended eye exercises you have for me? I'm close to about 15 years of age. I saw your podcast on the top 3 eye exercises for myopia, including palming and distance looking. But is there any other exercises I can do to increase the chances of losing my glasses for good? Thanks again for a great service. And I think there's certainly there are more exercises. The reason why we did the top 3 eye exercise series was to give people an idea that there were kind of some major exercises you can do, and we know a lot of people just want to do a couple of exercises, and our hope is that you'll do that for a while, and then you'll start seeing the fuller program, which is great, which is what the question of the week this week, the guy that's emailed us is getting that that aspect of it, that there is a little bit more to it than just doing 1 or 2 eye exercises, which is great, and we try not to push it too much. So the question is, yes, there are certainly some more eye exercises you could do. We'd recommend going to envisionselfhealing.com, go to the conditions tab, and in there you'll see a list of many conditions like presbyopia, nearsightedness, farsightedness, cataracts, RP. It's all listed down there on the side. And then go to the nearsightedness, it also says myopia, and you will see a list of a couple more eye exercises in there for you that's going to help. Because with the eye exercises, you want to think about having neutral system there, getting relaxation back to the eyes. But we also include some body exercises. Remember, we just talked about Meir Schneider and his story and how we came across the idea of combining body work with the eye exercises as well to get maximum benefits. And then we've also gone a little step further and we've put in some mind exercises there, which just is going to help you work away from your glasses and also keep you motivated with the eye exercises as well. So head over to the website and then look for the conditions tab there, and there is some program list there for you.
Yeah, and I have to say it's interesting. It's as you mentioned, the mind exercise portion of what we put on the website for free. Mm-hmm. This question reminds me of why we did that mind section. Mm-hmm. It's like for this person, 1 to 1.5 of myopia is a big hurdle to overcome. Mm-hmm. And for us, that's a very small amount of blur, essentially, that they're dealing with. And part of what we did in the mind part of the website is we have a section on how to take off your glasses and how do you deal with the blur. Because it's amazing how variable people's tolerance of blur is. Yeah. And this person, for me, that would be such a minor amount of blur. Yeah. But for this person, it's a hurdle to get over. And
I always remember a story from the school when we were training a guy that came in, and he said, I'm going blind, and checked his vision, and it was about 20/20.
Right.
And it was like, what are you talking about, you're going blind? And it was because I think this guy was either a fighter pilot or an air pilot, and he used to have 2010, 2015 vision. So for him, that drop between 2010 to 2020, for him, he was going blind.
Yeah.
And again, this is why you can't just treat the condition. Yeah. Because it is the individual. It is what you're experiencing. We can't tell you what you're experiencing. So it is important that you kind of get that one-to-one basis there, and to not kind of say to someone, oh, it's fine, you're only this. Right. And it is important that you get to where you want to be. And in particular, this individual is 15 years of age, so there's still time there to kind of work your way back. And instead of the prognosis of, well, now it's -1, and in a couple of years' time it's going to be -1.5, and then -2, and then by the time you get college, -3, and so on and so forth. So it's a great time there to do that. Not that at any age you can't improve it, but in particular right now it's great that this individual is looking to do more exercises for that. So I think for a bit of a push, if they are new to exercises, then certainly the Eye Exercise Express.
Yeah, I would say that for this person, well, for our general audience, the reason we did all these free exercises on the web was we wanted to give you a taste of these exercises working for you with you having to lay out no money, you're not there's no hurdle for you to get over to do the eye exercise.
We just wanted people to just start improving your eyesight straight away, just jump on the horse and get going. That's why that's there.
Then we developed the Eye Exercise Express as a product that you can use modern technology, phones, iPads, computers, as an aid to improving your eyesight, and as a way, the reason we call it an express is to accelerate your progress in improving your eyesight.
Yeah, so we really selected some key exercises there as well for people that are a little bit more short on time. We did include some body exercises in the Express for you to look at, and you also get that coaching call aspect as well, which is what this individual is going to find soon as they work into the eye exercises, that just like Richard and I were saying with our story, questions do come up, and it is important that you get those answered so that you can kind of put whatever doubt or whatever question it is out of your mind and start focusing on improving your eyesight as soon as possible. So we're really pleased we could
Yeah.
put that in there as well.
Yeah. So I think this person is a good illustration of how we envision people using our whole service, shall we say, is maybe they find us on YouTube, this podcast, so these are the first 3 exercises, you play with them, go to the free part of the website, develop it a little further, and then if you want that extra push, buy the Express. So.
Yeah, so if you're interested in that, then again, just head over to the Envision Self-Healing website, and you'll see some links there for the Express. You can go to the store page and you'll see you can find the Express in there as well. Okay, great. Well, we hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. If you want to find a lot more information about the eye exercises that we were just talking about, then do head over to envisionselfhealing.com, and we've mapped it out pretty simply there for you, and we've done a lot of the hard work for you, so you can just go there and start doing the exercises as soon as possible, so you can start seeing the benefits as well. You can also get your hands on a free ebook which is called A Modern Day Guide for Improving Eyesight, and you just need to give us a bit of info there on the website. Just check that out and we can send the ebook to you, so you can really start getting a basic understanding behind the eye exercises and indeed how they're going to start helping your exercise, how they're going to start helping your eyes as well. You can also follow us on Twitter or indeed on Facebook, like we just talked about. Just type in Envision Self-Healing in Facebook, and please like us there and share the information that you have, that you find from us, and share it with your friends and family or anyone that you think will benefit from the information as well. And I think you can also subscribe to us on YouTube. In fact, I know you can, and you can even subscribe to the channel now as well. They keep changing it around, but just head to the channel and subscribe there, and if you're listening to this on iTunes, then you could subscribe on that as well, and it makes sure that you get our weekly podcast sent directly to you every week. Okay, well, good luck with your eye exercises this week, everybody, and happy healing.
And have a good week.